media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4 News, Global TV, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan. Our endeavor is to bring to you the current topics as well as the impact of COVID-19. And today our topic is COVID-19 impact on hotels. Although we have already done 2-3 programs on this subject, in which we have taken all the luxury hotels, the 5-star plus hotels in this. But today we are going to see the problems or the impact of COVID-19 on the standalone hotels or those hotels who are not affiliated with a multinational chain. A hotel is not like a home, but it is better than being a house guest. Hospitality is making your guests feel at home, even if you wish they were. Atithi Devo Bhavo. The beginning of the hospitality sector in India stands rooted in this philosophy. A hotel is an establishment that provides paid lodging on a short-term basis. Hotel means hospitality, organization, tourism, enjoy life. In 2019, there are over 7 lakhs hotels and resorts worldwide. The global hotel market has over 20 million hotel rooms worldwide. As of 2019, 4.2 crores jobs were created in the tourism sector in India, which was 8.1% of total employment in the country. According to WTTC, India ranked 3rd among 185 countries in terms of travel and tourism total contribution to GDP in 2018. The COVID-19 pandemic has brought the world to a standstill, with the hospitality, travel and tourism sector being the most affected due to travel restrictions across the world and within India. Tourism constitutes 10%, that is $275 billion to India's GDP. This is no small amount and will require a joint plan by the government and the industry to overcome the havoc caused by COVID-19. The branded chain and some luxury standalone hotels constitutes 1.4 lakhs rooms, which is only 5% of total rooms available. The rest 95% are bed and breakfast, guest house and unbranded budget hotels. Since 95% accommodation lies in the low price sector like bed and breakfast, budget hotels and guest house, the country can ride on India's large domestic tourism to kickstart the industry. Inbound traffic, on the other hand, is bound to be slow because of fear of travel and recessionary conditions, restricted disposable income. The hotel industry faces a loss of approximately rupees 620 crores. Due to COVID-19, majority of hotel operators expect up to 2 years for revenue recovery, say McKinsey and JLL survey. And to discuss about the COVID-19 impact on hotels, we have a galaxy of guests with us who are owning the hotels and who knows ins and outs of the hotel industry. I would like to invite my first guest. He is Mr. Vikram Kamat. Mr. Kamat is the founder chairman of the Vikram Kamat Group, a chain of hotels and restaurants spanning multiple brands. He is a gold medalist from the IHM Mumbai. He completed his master's from Pune University and went on to get his doctorate in business administration from George Washington University, Pune. Mr. Vikram launched the successful full-service business hotel brand Wits at an early age of 22. From then to taking Wits international, now with countries like Thailand, he has played a pivotal role in achieving several milestones at Wits Kamat's Group over the last decades. Food and beverages is the chain's biggest strength and proud to be known as the food people. He observed the gap in the demand and supply for business hotels in Tier 2 and Tier 2, 3 cities, which led to the introduction of the group's first ever budget business hotels, Purple Beds, by which the group is also widely known for its chain of vegetarian highway restaurants under the brand Kamat's. Mr. Vikram established the chain further by making it the largest and the only vegetarian restaurant chain to be listed on Bombay Stock Exchange. The renewed focus led to foray into varied standalone cuisine restaurants through 4 new brands, the Urban Dhaba, Pepper Fry, and Wah Malwan, with Pepper Fry and Urban Dhaba receiving some of the most coveted awards from the likes of HT Media and others. He was also instrumental in the family ventures of establishing India's first ecotel chain of 5-star hotels, Orchid, and expansion to over 1,000 rooms in Mumbai and other cities. The brands have gained a cult status for themselves in the hospitality industry since their inception, based on the foundation he built. He has 2 patents applied in his name. With numerous awards, prizes, and recognitions over the years, Mr. Vikram has established himself as an entrepreneur, hotelier, and even an author with 8 books to his credit. Welcome, Mr. Vikram Kamat, to our show. Please unmute yourself. Mr.
Thank you,
Kamat,
sir.
Mr. Kamat, you have written books and you are having so much experience. You know the condition very well, and you are not only dealing with your hotels in India, but abroad. And the COVID-19 has impacted everyone, and
Yes.
especially the tourism industry. So we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on hotels. Mr. Vikram Kamat, please.
Thank you, sir. Well, sir, you have explained it very well. Some of the statistics you gave are very pertinent. In fact, I'd just like to highlight them again, that the entire hotel and restaurant industry, hospitality industry is contributing more than 10% of India's GDP, with over 5 crore jobs, which is no small matter in this very important time when the country is going, obviously because of COVID, through a very rough patch. Travel is affected because the very concept of lockdown itself means that you are not allowed to move around. And in such a scenario, something as important as travel and tourism, and travel not just for leisure, but travel even for business is affected, which is directly affecting all types of transport, that is aviation, ground transport, and even of course rail. And this has a cascading effect on jobs across the entire hospitality, travel and tourism sector. And when you combine all 3 of these sectors, the total job implication could be in excess of 10 crore jobs, which are being affected both directly and indirectly. And many people have this misconception that they think, "Arey, hotel walo ko kya farak padta hai? What difference it make to hotel people? They have got a lot of money." But you must remember that the hotel is supporting the right from the smallest of the vendor, who may be supplying the daily milk to the hotel, to the normal vegetable and fruit vendor. They are also badly affected. So this is a problem not just of classes. Sometimes people think that this is a hotel affected means a problem of only the classes, but this is a problem affecting the masses, because the entire consumption of fruits, vegetables, all the produce, all the farm produce also today is nearly 30% less, because hotels and restaurants are not taking the procurement on a regular basis. So this has a very, very serious impact on employment, and the money which should be rotating, the banking problems and the NPA and all those matters are of course there. But when we see at a grassroots level, this is very badly affecting the economy, and the government should take the most important steps of unlocking this sector first, because at this time when people have jobs have been hit, salary cut has taken place, not just in hospitality sector but across all sectors. Something like banking, where people are keeping their money in the bank, even they have the best and biggest of banks have taken a 30-40% salary compulsory salary cuts. In such a scenario, it's very important that government at the earliest encourage this sector so that they can unlock, so that they can start again, the money can start rotating back to the masses, and the vendors and the partners of various hotels, they also start getting employment again. The associates of the hotels can start coming, so that this cycle slowly but surely starts turning and the economy can come back on track. Because this is one sector which affects every single, right from a small contractor who might be an electrician who is having a contract in the hotel, to a plumber, to every single segment of the society is associated and can benefit from hotels and restaurants starting. And restaurant again doesn't mean the high-end restaurant only. It means the where will today the IT crowd or this normal person who is going today to work, when he leaves his office or leaves for office in morning 1.5 hours and tries to reach 1.5 hours, 2 hours to his workplace, where will he eat breakfast? Near his office. When he leaves his office, let's say at 7 o'clock in the evening, till he reaches home, it will be 9:30. He might want to eat some light snack. Where will he eat a light snack on the way home? So this affects everybody, and this can be a great uh, economic engine which the government, if it restarts, then in a large scale the money can start rotating and again people can get back to their jobs. So a lot of local unlocking, a lot of local rules and regulations are being put, though on a macro level, on the on the macro level, the MHA has announced that hotels can be opened. But when you see on the realistic level, on the local level, unless the real ease of doing business starts, hotels will still have a tough time, which is bad for the economy, bad for banks, bad for society, because the money which can start coming back to the vendors, suppliers and staff, that is also take time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamat, for giving your
Thanks.
views about the COVID-19 impact on hotels. And Mr. Kamat said very clearly that this COVID-19 impact due to the lockdown impacted the hotel industry very badly. He said that more than 5 crore people are going to be jobless or affected because this hotel industries recruit them directly. And he says that indirectly, another 5 crores, approximately 10 crores people are going to be affected because they are directly or indirectly linked with the hotel industry. He also mentioned that even a small vegetable seller, or even the producers, the agriculturists, as well as those who are supplying the dairy products, they all are affected because the 30%, according to Mr. Kamat, 30% of the produced consumption has been reduced because the hotel industry is not taking that much right now. And he says that the hotel industry generates more than 10% of the GDP, although he has not mentioned, but I can mention here that India's new education policies total outlay is only 6%. So one can imagine if we are losing 10% of the GDP, how much the government can put that money back. But government also have lots of reservation. After all, the main concern is of health. So we have to think of the health also. But what Mr. Kamat says, that until unless the hotel industry will not be opened, unlocked, it is not possible to bring back the money to the economy, because he says the hotel industry is such an industry where the money is rotating back to the society, because hotel, whatsoever they are using, they are giving the money for purchasing the raw materials, and it is going back to the society. And he even mentioned that it is very difficult for a person to go in the morning and come in the evening without having anything because of the lockdown. He said, although the government has unlocked the hotels on macro basis, but the reality, there are lots of challenges which hotel industry is facing, which has to be taken consideration by the government. Thank you, Mr. Kamat, for giving your opening remarks about the COVID-19 impact on hotels. Now I would like to go to my next guest. He is Mr. Amit Jain. Mr. Amit Jain is the Managing Director of Hotel Sheetal Regency, Mathura. Mr. Jain is the Braj Prant Sanyojak of Confederation of All India Traders. He is the founder, member and convener of All India Jewelers and Goldsmith Federation, Media Club, New Delhi, and Mathura Vrindavan Hotel Owners Association. He is the Vice President of National Chambers of Commerce and Industries, Mathura. Mr. Jain is the board member of Uttar Pradesh Hotel and Restaurant Association, as well as Indian Bullion Jewelers Association. Mr. Jain is also member of local and national associations like FICCI, Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council, Indian Association of Tour Operators, etc. आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है अमित जैन जी इस हमारे कार्यक्रम में. अपने को अनम्यूट कर दें प्लीज. मिस्टर जैन, अभी आपने सुना मिस्टर विक्रम कामत को, जिन्होंने बताया कि इस वक्त भारत में होटल इंडस्ट्री की बहुत बुरी हालत है लॉकडाउन की वजह से, क्योंकि लॉकडाउन होने से सब होटल्स एक तरह से बंद हो गए. और आज की तारीख में होटल इंडस्ट्री को हालांकि गवर्नमेंट ने काफी जगह खोल दिया है, लेकिन रियलिटी में अभी कोई बिजनेस शुरू नहीं हुआ और बहुत सारी चैलेंजेस हैं, बहुत सारी डिफिकल्टीज हैं. और आपका जैसा विक्रम कामत जी ने ये बताया कि करीब 10 करोड़ लोगों का रोजगार इस पे निर्भर करता है डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली होटल इंडस्ट्री में. और 30% प्रोड्यूस, एग्रीकल्चर प्रोड्यूस, डेयरीज, ये सब कंज्यूम करते हैं होटल एंड रेस्टोरेंट जो आज चल रहे हैं. और जैसा रिपोर्ट में मैंने बताया कि 95% होटल्स जो हैं वो अनब्रांडेड होटल्स हैं, बड़ी बड़ी मल्टीनेशनल चेन नहीं है, जो स्टैंड अलोन होटल्स हैं. तो आज जो बिजनेस है, और बाहर से क्योंकि फॉरेन टूरिस्ट बिल्कुल बंद हो गया है आना इस लॉकडाउन की वजह से, तो जो बिजनेस है वो सिर्फ अब डोमेस्टिक बिजनेस है. और परेशानियां काफी होटल इंडस्ट्री में मिस्टर कामत के हिसाब से काफी परेशानियां फेस कर रहा है होटल इंडस्ट्री. और इसकी वजह से उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि अगर ये नहीं दोबारा चालू करा जाएगा तो कंट्री को इकोनॉमी में काफी प्रॉब्लम आएगा, क्योंकि 10% जीडीपी होटल इंडस्ट्री देती है. तो अब हम आपसे जानना चाहेंगे COVID-19 impact on hotels. Mr. Amit Jain, please.
नमस्कार सब लोगों को मेरा. जैसे कि आपने और कामत साहब ने पहले ही बता दिया है कि जो हमारी जीडीपी की टूरिज्म और होटल इंडस्ट्री है, 10% इसका शेयर मार्क हमारा टूरिज्म सेक्टर करता है. इसके साथ साथ जो हमारी डायरेक्टली या इनडायरेक्टली जो हमारे लॉसेस हुए हैं एम्प्लॉयमेंट के, वो करीब करीब 5 और 5-10 करोड़ करीब के आसपास के लॉसेस हमारे डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली हुए. इसके साथ साथ देखिए, कोविड, पहले हमको समझना पड़ेगा कोविड है क्या है, कोविड ने क्या किया, और कोविड को हम किस प्रकार से अपने से दूर कर सकते हैं, या फिर कोविड को हम किस प्रकार से इससे हम जो है अपने को रिकवरी कर सकते हैं कोविड से हम. और हम इस अपने सेक्टर में कोविड से किस प्रकार से निजात पा सकते हैं, ताकि हम सब लोग इस सेक्टर के माध्यम से या फिर जो है किसी भी, क्योंकि मैं और भी संस्थाओं से या संगठनों से जुड़ा हुआ हूं मैं, तो मैं एक मोटी बात मोटे तौर पे सबके लिए करूंगी. देखिए, पर्यटन उद्योग, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है कि पर्यटन उद्योग सबसे ज्यादा असर किया है इस कोविड की वजह से. और कोविड की वजह से जो हिंदुस्तान की जीडीपी है, जिसका 10% शेयर है, वो वास्तव में जीडीपी की कमर टूट गई है, क्योंकि 10% शेयर एक बहुत बड़ा मायने रखता है शेयर. इसके साथ साथ जो हम लोगों की जॉब्स चली गई हैं, जो हम लोगों के यहाँ पे, देखिए कोविड की वजह से क्या हुआ कि एक तो जो करीब करीब 1.5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का हम लोगों को करीब करीब नुकसान हुआ है मोटे तौर पे, अगर हम देख ही जाएं तो पूरे मतलब जो है अपने पर्यटन होटल उद्योग. इसके साथ साथ आज तक के इतिहास में जिस समय शायद सब लोगों को पता होगा कि अमेरिका में हमला हुआ था और 9/11 का, और अमेरिका के हमले के बाद में जो सबसे ज्यादा अफेक्टेड टूरिज्म इंडस्ट्री हुई थी उस समय वहां की, वो होटल इंडस्ट्री हुई थी. आज वही स्थिति हमारे सामने दोबारा बन गई है कि कोविड की वजह से सबसे ज्यादा अफेक्टेड हमारी टूरिस्ट हुई है. परंतु हम लोग इस इंडस्ट्री से अपने आप को निजात पा सकते हैं. अभी जैसे देखिए, जिस प्रकार से अनलॉक हुए, जिस प्रकार से सरकार ने भी इसमें जो है ये भी कहा है कि भाई हम लोग जो है सरकार के माध्यम से चीजों को सही करने की कोशिश करेंगे. हम लोगों को देखिए इस तरह की सेमिनार्स वगैरह और इस तरह की तो सब कुछ बहुत हो चुकी है. अगर अब डायरेक्ट पॉइंट की बात करें तो हम लोग जैसे सरकार से हम लोगों ने पहले भी डिमांड करी थी इस विषय में. मेरी जो मिनिस्टर ऑफ टूरिज्म है मिस्टर पटेल साहब, उनसे भी बात हुई थी. उन्होंने जब मेरी उनसे विषय में बात हुई थी, उन्होंने मुझे कहा भी था. और हमारे उत्तर प्रदेश में तो खास तौर से उन्होंने कुछ रियायतें भी दिलवाई थी। माननीय योगी जी हमारे समय बहुत अच्छा कार्य कर रहे हैं इस विषय में। उन्होंने जो है लॉकडाउन भी खोल दिए हैं, और जो पहले साप्ताहिक लॉकडाउन हमारे चला करते थे और वो भी उन्होंने 2 दिन का बंद कर दिया है। और कल से इनफैक्ट उन्होंने एक रविवार का लॉकडाउन था उसको भी कर दिया है। और उन्होंने कहा है कि जो हमारा पूर्व विधि से जो बंदी हुआ करती थी, जो जैसे किसी की शनिवार की थी, किसी की मंगल की, तो वो भी आप तरीके से पूर्ण हो सकते हैं। इसके साथ साथ उन्होंने कल एक विज्ञप्ति दे करके बड़ा स्पष्ट कहा है कि होटल और रेस्टोरेंट कोई भी बंद नहीं होंगे और आप उनको पूरी तरीके से चला सकते हैं, परंतु जो एमएएच की गाइडलाइंस हैं उनको आप मद्देनजर रखते हुए, आप उनके हिसाब से चलते हुए, आप उनको सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग मेंटेन करते हुए, आप जो है मास्क लगाते हुए और आप आरोग्य सेतु ऐप का पालन करते हुए आप उनको होटल इंडस्ट्री को आगे चला सकते हैं। इसके साथ साथ क्या है, जैसे हम लोगों ने जैसे मांग की थी कि भाई कम से कम जो होटल्स बन रहे हैं या फिर जो होटल्स आपके जो है प्रोसेस में है, तो उनके ऊपर एक सबसे बड़ा जो बर्डन है वो बर्डन है उनके ऊपर इंटरेस्ट का, जो ब्याज का बर्डन है उनके ऊपर। तो कम से कम इस विषय में कोई ना कोई ऐसी नियम या कोई ऐसा कोई अध्यादेश या इस तरह का कोई इस तरह की कोई चीज लाई जाए कि कम से कम जो होटल प्रोसेस में है कि उस पर मोटिंग पीरियड बढ़ाया जाए या फिर उस पर इंटरेस्ट का बर्डन ना पड़े, उसके ऊपर कुछ इस तरह की प्लानिंग करी जाए कि मतलब ताकि जो है होटल जो हमारे प्रोसेस में है या फिर जिन पे ये हमारी ब्याज लग रही है, तो कम से कम उनको एक राहत मिल सके। इसके साथ साथ पटेल साहब ने जब मुझसे कहा था तो उन्होंने वो अपना किया भी, और उन्होंने जो बिजली के बिलों पे जो सबसे ज्यादा छूट दी थी और उन्हें प्रत्येक स्टेट में आपके जो है जो सर्विस चार्ज थे या फिर जो है कुछ लेवीज थी बिजली के ऊपर, उन्होंने उसको करवाया भी था। और मैं समझता हूँ कि प्रत्येक स्टेट उस बात को उसको फॉलो भी कर रही है, उन्होंने बिजली के बिलों में छूट रियायतें भी दी गई। इसके साथ साथ हमने एक बात और कही थी कि भाई जो लोकल टैक्सेस हैं, जो लोकल रेवेन्यूज हैं, जो लोकल जैसे नगर निगम हुआ, नगर पालिका हुआ, हम लोगों के शहरों में जो वो छोटे छोटे टैक्सेस लगाते हैं, कम से कम इस पीरियड में जब तक कि हम लोग इस कोविड के पूरे वैश्विक महामारी के उससे नहीं निकल जाते, तो कम से कम जब तक इस बात की हमें छूट दी जाए कि भाई ये लोकल टैक्सेस का इम्प्लीमेंटेशन हमारे ऊपर ना हो। इससे क्या होगा, देखिए क्योंकि वैसे ही इस समय वैश्विक महामारी फैली हुई है, लोगों के अंदर एक फियर का एक माहौल है। कोई भी आदमी व्यक्ति अपने परिवार के साथ में आना नहीं चाहता, होटल में नहीं आना चाहता, रेस्टोरेंट में आने में वो घबरा रहा है कि हमने प्रॉपर तरीके से सैनिटाइजेशन किया है नहीं किया है, रूम्स को प्रॉपर सैनिटाइज किया है नहीं किया है। तो ये सब चीजों को हमको मद्देनजर रखना पड़ेगा। इसके साथ साथ हम ये भी समझते हैं कि अगर हम छोटी छोटी चीजों को देखें, अपने खर्चों में किस प्रकार से हम जो है कट ऑफ करें चीजों को लेकर के। वैसे तो देखिए बहुत सी चीज आदमी के जो है मन से और मानसिकता से जुड़ी हुई होती हैं। अगर हम किसी चीज को समझेंगे कि बहुत बड़ा इसका प्रारूप या बहुत बड़ा इसका जो है बहुत बड़ी समस्या है, तो वास्तव में वो हमको समस्या लगेगी। परंतु अगर हम किसी समस्या को बड़े इत्मीनान से और बड़े आसानी से और बड़े धैर्यता से पूर्वक से उसको हम लेंगे, तो मैं समझता हूँ कि वो समस्या भी बहुत से बड़ी समस्या भी बहुत छोटी हो जाती है चीजों को। तो मेरा कहने का मतलब यही है कि ये जो चीजें हैं कि किस प्रकार से हम लोग इस कोविड महामारी से जा सकते हैं। अब जैसे छोटी सी चीजें, जैसे हमारा अफेक्टेड हमारे बिजनेस होटल इंडस्ट्री के अफेक्टेड कहाँ पे हुए। जैसे देखिए कि एक डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग एक है, जो कि डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग ऐसी वो है कि जहां पर कि हर एक व्यक्ति एक अच्छा रेवेन्यू जनरेट करता है डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग के नाम पर। तो डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग का कंसेप्ट हमारा खत्म हो गया बिल्कुल इस समय, बिल्कुल ही कोई नहीं करना चाहता, क्योंकि सब लोगों को डर लग रहा है इस चीज में। इसके साथ साथ व्यक्ति, जैसे कामत साहब ने कहा कि भाई अभी आने में आदमी को थोड़ा सा समय लगेगा, और मैं समझता हूँ कि कम से कम साल 1.5 साल तो हमको अभी हो सकता है कि शायद इस समस्या से थोड़ा जूझना पड़े। लेकिन हम लोग निश्चित ही इस वैश्विक महामारी पर विजय प्राप्त करेंगे, ये मेरा अपना अनुमान है। और मेरा ये भी है कि जब जो है इस महामारी पर विजय प्राप्त करेंगे, तो निश्चित है कि हमारी जो व्यवस्थाएं थी, जो हमारी जो चल रही थी, वो पूर्व तरीके से चलेंगी। और मैं तो एक बात कहता हूं कि जब वो दिन नहीं रहे तो निश्चित ये दिन भी नहीं रहेंगे। ये मैं पॉजिटिव एटीट्यूड के साथ में इस बात को कहता हूं कि आगे हम लोगों के साथ में अच्छा ही होगा, और हम लोग स्वतः ही मान के चलेंगे अच्छा होगा तो निश्चित ही अच्छा होगा। यही मेरा आपसे कहना है।
जब वो दिन नहीं रहे तो ये दिन भी नहीं रहेंगे, ऐसा कहना है मिस्टर अमित जैन का। Thank you, Mr. Jain, for giving your views. And Mr. Jain says that yes, COVID-19 has impacted the hotel industry very badly, but he said that he had a talk with the UP tourism minister, and he has assured him whatsoever the help the government can give, they can give. Although he has mentioned that we are facing lots of problems, especially for the interest of the banks, as well as those charges which the electricity charges and others. And he mentioned that the government has UP government in particular, because he is from Mathura, which comes under Uttar Pradesh, and he says that UP government and the Honorable Chief Minister of UP has given the relaxation. Earlier the lockdown was for Saturday, Sunday, the weekends, but now from tomorrow, for this week, even the Sunday lockdown has been removed. So there is no lockdown, and according to him, the Chief Minister has mentioned that the hotel and restaurant need not to be closed at all, and they can function as they were functioning. But because of the lockdown, the tourism is not yet started coming, and until they will not come, it's not easy to recover the hotel business. And he has also mentioned that the main business of the hotel was from the destination wedding. Yes, because I would like to inform you, Mr. Jain, I have done a program on this, the banquets in the luxury hotels, and they said that the almost 50% of the revenue is from the F&B department of a hotel. So if the 50% revenue is gone, so one can very well imagine how much impact has come on the hotel industry because of the restrictions of the events and the weddings. Although now the government has started allowing 100 per pax, 100 persons for the events as well as for the wedding. But that too is nothing in front of a, because one of the hotelier, he told me that they have a banquet hall of about 25,000 square feet. And in 25,000 square feet, 100 people are peanuts. He says even the electricity charges we cannot take out from those 100 people. So this is the condition as far as hotel industry is concerned. But Mr. Jain is very positive. He says we will definitely recover, and these days will go and we will be back in the business as we were doing earlier. Thank you, Mr. Jain, for giving your perspective about this. Now I would like to go to my next guest. He is Mr. Samir Dharkar. Mr. Samir is the Managing Director, Absolute Hotel Services India and Subcontinent. AHS, Hospitality India Private Limited, is held by Mr. Samir Dharkar as an investor and shareholder. Absolute Hotel Services is one of the fastest growing hospitality management branding companies in Asia, with an ever expanding geographic portfolios of hotels, resorts, and serviced residences. Headquartered in Bangkok, Thailand, with regional offices in Vietnam, Indonesia, Hong Kong, India, Russia, and Europe. AH is an affiliate of UCity, which is part of one of the top business groups of Thailand, BTS, who also operates the Sky Trains. Covering the luxury to economic segments through its brands U Hotels and Resorts, Eastern Grand Hotels and Resorts, Eastern Hotels, Resorts and Residences, Eastern Easy and Vienna Houses. AHS have developed and continue to evolve relevant hospitality solutions which work. Mr. Samir's career spans over 30 years of successfully managing sales and distribution across industries like hospitality, finance, insurance, mutual funds, and BPOs. He joined the company as the Managing Director for the Indian subcontinent and the Middle East in October 2012. His expertise, experience, dynamic personality, and strong sense of business acumen has yielded the desired results for the associated stakeholders and enabled him to take AHS Hospitality India Private Limited to greater heights of achievements and term. His academic accolades includes Cornell University Development Program in Revenue Management and MBA from University of Pune. Welcome, Mr. Samir, on our show. Mr. Samir, you have heard what Mr. Kamat as well as Mr. Jain said. According to Mr. Kamat, the condition is bad. He says almost 10 crores jobs loss is going to be affected. Jobs will be affected because of the lockdown, directly and indirectly. He even says that the 30% consumption of the vegetables or the dairy products have reduced because of the closure of hotels and restaurants. And he said that the condition is so bad that if government will not start giving the free hand to the hotel industry, it will be a very bad scene, not only for the hotel, but the economy in whole, because according to him, the 10% GDP is contributed by the hotel industry. Now, Mr. Jain is differing with, has some difference with Mr. Kamat, although he also agreed about the revenue part, and he even said that 1.5 lakhs crores have been lost by the hotel industry. But he says the government is doing lots of things, and especially the UP government, they have allowed almost everything whatsoever they want, the relaxations, although there are further demands. He mentioned about the some surcharges of the electricity, although which I know that the hotel and restaurant industry wanted the fixed amount to be removed. Because in the earlier of my media conference, some hoteliers said that there should be no fixed amount of the electricity bill, what has to be paid. But I don't know about the other states, but in Karnataka, still the fixed amount hotel industry has to pay, whether you are closed or whether you are working, which is unfortunate, of course, for the hotel industry, because hotel is also consuming the electricity, one of the very big consumer of the electricity. And if they have to pay the for the fixed amount without any operation, is also a very, very big loss to the hotel industry. Now, we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on hotels. Mr. Sameer Dharkar, please.
Namaskar, Goel sir. To start with, before I touch the subject, I would like to thank you for this opportunity of giving this platform, and wonderful job which Organ Donation India Foundation is doing. My compliments to you and the organization. Coming to the subject, yes, as Vikram and Mr. Jain has covered already, I mean, mainly there are two impacts on the industry, like many other industries as well. One is, of course, the great loss of jobs. And as Vikram rightly mentioned the numbers, almost about 5 crores jobs have been lost in India. And maybe if you consider the indirect impact, it could be somewhere around 8 to 10 crores as well. Second most important impact is on the hotel owners and the hotel chains. So, you know, when the business is down, I mean, practically lockdown happened in the month of March, but practically the business started going down from the first week of March itself, as the global news were already flowing in from the end of December, January. So if you look at it already, we are down. I mean, the businesses were shut literally for about almost 6 months. And now, maybe beginning from last month or so, slowly the government has started opening up. But the fact is, the hotels and the entire industry has literally, the cash losses have actually, you know, mounted for last more than 6 months, because there are industries, I mean, various industries got affected, no doubt. I mean, it's not just the hotel industry got affected, but if you actually look at it, certain industry may have got affected by 25%, certain maybe by 50% or so. But if we look at the hotels and restaurants or the tourism, practically the numbers have come down from 100 to 0. So what one has to actually look at it is, while the entire economy got impacted, entire economy got affected, however, particular industries like aviation and tourism and hotel industries, these are the industries which are actually got hit the maximum. Now, so I would like to, you know, touch upon, as Mr. Jain has briefly touched upon, I would also like to touch upon what government has so far taken the actions. And certainly I'm not doing this from the point of criticism. We are just looking at from the point of what the facts on the table, what the government has been doing it. And definitely I agree with you, Mr. Goel, that government of India and various state governments across the country have tried to do their best. So we are not taking away anything from that. But just to touch upon the points, I mean, if we look at, one thing which government did is basically they said that, okay, fair enough. I mean, we will, under the MSME sector, which is now hotel industry also comes under the MSME sector. And for that, they have done a moratorium period of about 6 months. So starting from March, I guess, till August end. So now, what does that mean actually? I mean, how does that actually exactly, how has it affected the industry, or how has it, helped the industry? So what they have done is basically they have moved the principal amount, to be paid later on, and the interest amount, which will be paid. I mean, they have given the time period for the industry, for the hotel owners to pay it later on. However, the interest, unfortunately, the interest which was not being paid, the moratorium period which everybody got, now there is an interest on that getting accumulated. So it's like interest on interest. I mean, on a lighter note, I would say it's like the old system of Pathan. I mean, unfortunately, but in the financial system, this holds true. But there is already some gentleman has already challenged this action in the court, Supreme Court. The case is the highest court in the country. Supreme Court is already hearing the case, and I must say the government is favorably supporting in terms of, in fact, even the expert committee formed by the government, headed by Mr. K.V. Kamat, has also already submitted the report on 4th of September. Even in their report, thankfully, and we all must appreciate that finally the hotel tourism industry actually appears in that report, one of the 26 sectors which they have identified. And even in the court, the last hearing, in fact, today, if I'm not wrong, today happens to be that particular case which I'm referring to. Today happens to be the hearing. I don't know exactly what time the court hearing is, but even during the government stand was that they are looking at taking this restructuring of 6 months moratorium to about 2 years for these selected industries. Okay, so obviously, as I said, this is yet to be finalized. There is a report from Mr. K.V. Kamat. The committee is expert committee headed by Mr. K.V. Kamat, and accordingly, government is also taking up this with the help of RBI. So, RBI and government is putting across these thoughts, which we all need to await and see the final result, whether it really materializes, whether do we get that kind of an 2-year moratorium. So if that happens, certainly it would help further. Second thing, what government so far has done, just to touch upon, is 20% of your outstanding loans as on February end, if I'm not wrong, as on February end, whatever was outstanding loans of a particular hotel owner. This is for the entire MSME, but I'm just referring to how does it help us as an industry. So that up to a maximum cap of 50 crore loans, which means if you take 20% of that, which means a maximum cap of 10 crore. So that, government has given an option where, of course, through the banking industry and NBFCs, they have to do this, that 1 + 3 year, okay, that is 1 year moratorium and plus 3 years of repayment. So you get an additional loan, which is guaranteed by the government of India, to the extent of 20% of outstanding loans as on February 8. So which was a very, again, a very useful step taken by the government to help the industry. So third thing which government has done is in case of loss of jobs. I mean, again, it's an unfortunate situation. Nobody want to lose. I mean, neither as an employer we want to retrench any employee. But looking at the situation, we all are aware that a lot of people have lost jobs, and same has happened in the hotel industry, which was, as I said, which has hit the hardest. So the third point which government has done is people who have lost the jobs, to the extent of maximum 3 months, they can take 50% of their salary from the ESIC, whoever was covered under ESIC. So, normally ESIC is, used for basically the medical benefits, medical treatments of the employees covered under that. So this is the first time probably government used the SIC corpus to inform the employees that if you've lost a job, you can take up to the limit of 50%. Now, this is what so far primarily these three major things which I could think of, which government has done it, apart from maybe each state government if they have done any specific, which I'm not aware about all the states. But as Mr. Jain said, that's a good thought, which if UP government of anybody has done it, I'm not aware. Or if any other governments can do, like look at some subsidizing the electricity bill or certain local taxes, as Mr. Jain mentioned during his time, like for example, maybe property tax. So maybe the delay, postponement, time limit, or certain like Maharashtra government currently has just done for the real estate sector. They have reduced the stamp duty. So similarly, if for hotels, if property tax payment can be reduced for the time being for next 1 year or 2 years, because this impact to get back to for the hotel industry, if you ask me, when will the industry get back to the pre-COVID time? So let's say pre December 19 time. I mean, to be very honest, it is very, very difficult for anybody to forecast. It's like all the pundits of the industry and of the economy can give numbers, but to my mind, nobody can really forecast this precisely. Yes, if we talk of time period, it could be minimum 12 months, and it could be as high as 24 months. But can we really project it? Very difficult, because it also depends not just on one state government or not just on one single country government, but it is a global pandemic. Please understand, this is not an India related problem or a Maharashtra state or a Delhi state or a UP state related problem. We are talking about a global pandemic situation here. So, all the countries, I mean, as I see it, each state, each head of the country has to chalk out a path of opening. I mean, yes, all the countries have been taking various steps, but what you need to do now, because you're fighting the war on two fronts. One is you are trying to control the COVID situation, which is obviously the primary responsibility, but at the same time, the taking care of the economy is also an equally important, because we just can't control the pandemic and let economy go to dogs. That's not possible, because entire humankind is getting affected by the economy as well. So all the states heads, all the country heads need to have a clear path of opening the borders. When we talk of opening the borders, I am not saying at all, even for a second, that we are talking of, just don't bother about the pandemic. No, keep all the restrictions in terms of checks and balances, okay, in place. Make sure that safety is not compromised. Even as an industry, we are making sure, I'm sure, all of us must have seen various videos and various, publications talking about how the hotel industry has taken strong steps on hygiene related factors. Like even company like ours, we have a partnership with Diversity, which is again an international company. So hygiene has always been the part of our industry. It's not something new. However, we have revisited the whole concept. We have reviewed the whole processes, and we have put in extra processes for the safety purpose of our guests and in general for our employees, because employees is as important as guests. I mean, it's both as important, right? So likewise, the way our organization has done it, entire industry has done the same thing. So it's not, only one or two hotels have done it. The entire industry has taken these actions. Similarly, the state governments, head of the countries, need to have path where you have the control pandemic. To control this, we have to continue doing the taking the steps and actions. At the same time, opening of our economy, you need to have a path. You need to have certain targets that okay, fine, let's open the state borders by so to date, which now has happened already, right? Similarly, you have a timeline that we open the borders for X sectors first, then we open the borders for Y sector, and then we open the borders for entire for everyone. Obviously, you have control that, okay, it should be subject to the COVID test or XYZ, because unless and until entire global economy is not opened, okay, the impact will not vanish. And obviously, I am not talking about this happening in one day's time. All I'm saying is that path need to be chalked out first and then be followed by actions. Now, if we look at that, and then coming back to how the industry, our specific Indian hotel industry, we can resolve this problem. I would love to urge and request the government to use this challenge convert this into an opportunity. What I mean by that, if you actually look at hotel industry in India specific, now I'm talking about that.
Just be brief, Mr. Sameer.
Okay, last 1 minute. I will conclude in last 1 minute. If you actually see that our industry has not been recognized as an industry. Hotel industry is not today recognized as an industry. Okay. First of all, if the industry contributes 10% of the GDP, which has a potential to reach 20%, mind you, the best tourism industry countries like Thailand and all contribute 20 to 25% to the GDP. So if we have to do that, what government can do is that first of all, change the infrastructure. I mean, hotel industry, if they cannot, honor it as an industry, the second alternative is club hotel industry into infrastructure industry. Please understand, I will cover it in only 1 minute. Very important point, Mr. Goel. Last point, very important. Because see, today our industry finances are finance structure is like this. You get the loans for anything between say 10 years to 14 years. Anything about 10 years is done by waivers. Okay, but maximum about say 14 to 15 years maximum, which is for the other industries available. But usually hotels get loans for 10 years to 12 years. Average is not more than 12 years. Now, then look at the rate of interest. Rate of interest vary in India. The cost of funds is something goes up to as high as 14%. And probably the best of the hotels, largest of the hotel may be getting it about somewhere around 10 to 11%. Okay. Average is not definitely less than 12.5%. That is the cost of fund. So first important thing, our industry has to recognize, if they club it with infrastructure, then your loan tenure will go to up to as high as 25 years. Please understand, our industry has highest number of NPAs. And if we have to control that, you need to have a loan tenure of up to 25 years, maybe 20 to 25 years, and maybe cost of funds up to 8%, bring it down to 8%. Thank you. I'm sorry for taking more time, Mr. Goel. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Sameer. And Mr. Sameer has also mentioned that, yes, there is a problem, lots of problem, but he has touched 3 points. And he says the government, about the rate of, about the interest. He says that although the moratorium has been giving, but it's like a compound interest because we have to pay on interest over the interest during this moratorium, and it is very difficult time because there is no income at all. And he says that although now the government and the RBI is trying to give it a 2 years time for this, but I will mention here one thing, Mr. Sameer, that in the last one of the hearing, the Supreme Court has mentioned very clearly that lockdown was done by the government, not by the industries. So why the industries have to suffer? Why they have to pay that even interest? And so this is his point. And number 2 point he has mentioned about this, that interest rate should be either waived off or to be reduced. And third point he has mentioned about the opening of the lockdown. And what's your third point, Mr. Sameer? Because it was so long, so I could not recall now.
Yeah, from the solution point of view,
No, the third point which you have mentioned initially, the first and second. And
ESIC.
Sorry?
Government action on ESIC.
Yes, and he has mentioned that is a very, very important point, which I would like to highlight, that according to him, I cannot vouch right now, but according to Mr. Sameer is that now the government has declared that whosoever has lost their jobs more than 3 months, now they can withdraw 50% of their salary every month Is it correct, Mr. Samir?
Up to 3 months. Yes.
Up to 3 months, they can withdraw 50% from the ESI. This is a very welcome move, I must say, if it is there, because so many, whether all the sectors, there is job loss. If everybody will do it, definitely at least they will have a breathing time for 3 months. Then further we will see it. Plus, the government has also allowed about the provident fund withdrawal. One can very well withdraw up to 80% or whatsoever in that money also. Now, and he has made many more suggestions. He also mentioned about that the government should treat the hotels as an infrastructure industry. Although he mentioned, and it is very clear, till date, hotels are not covered as not termed as an industry. So basically, it's not an industry according to Mr. Samir. Or is it an industry?
Our government of India has not yet accorded the industry standard. You know, it is not recognized as a specific.
So it is not a industry. So first demand should be the industry. Anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Samir, for giving your views. I'm sure that your views will reach to the government also, and they will take some action. Now, I would like to move to my next guest, and he is Mr. Sonal Agrawal. Mr. Sonal Agrawal is the director of Hotel Abhinandan Mathura. He is MBA in finance. Mr. Agrawal has been in hotel business for last 25 years. Mr. Agrawal is the Joint Secretary of Rotary Club Mathura Central, and he is the President of Laghu Udyog Bharati Mathura. Welcome, Mr. Sonal Agrawal. You have already heard what Mr. Kamat, Mr. Jain, as well as Mr. Samir has said. I would not like to repeat because of the time paucity. Now we would like to know the COVID-19 impact on hotels. Mr. Sonal Agrawal, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for providing me this opportunity on your platform. The impact of COVID has been very difficult for the small hotels, especially in small cities like Mathura and Agra. There are altogether around 27 lakh hotel rooms in Mathura, and out of that, around 80% are managed by single standalone hotels, and around 40 lakh people are directly employed by them. And the impact on our employment, on our employees, has been very severe. Earlier, we were employing around 50 people in our hotel, but right now we are not able to give employment to more than 20 people. 30 people are sitting on bench. So this impact has been very difficult. And my employees have been working for me for last 20 years, 25 years. They have been part of our family. And now we are not able to give them salary. We are not able to give them job. So it's a very moral load on our side, on employers. In turn, my employees are not able to give education to their kids. They are not able to provide food to their kids. So, altogether, it's a very difficult situation for small hotel owners. And in the meantime, all other industries are growing, they are reviving, but I feel the hotel industry will be, and tourism industry will be the last. Even after this COVID situation is recovered, some vaccine is introduced and all people are vaccinated. Still after that, I think it will take around 5 to 6 months. Even after getting situation normalized, the hotel industry or tourism industry will be revived. Now the question is how to survive in the meantime. Now the main question is how the small hotel operators and hotels can survive in the meantime. And for that, I think government has a major role to play. The government declared a 20 lakh crore package in June, but not a single industry specific, hotel industry specific measure was announced in that package. We provide 10% of the employment, around 10 crore people. It means we are feeding 30 crore or 40 crore people out of 130 crore population of India. It is around 30 to 40% population of India is being directly or indirectly fed by tourism industry. But still not a single word was mentioned in our package for tourism industry. Now, having said that, what needs to be done is, as Mr. Dharkar said, the industry status. It is very important. Now we are charged electricity at the commercial rate, which is 1.5 times of the industry rate. Now I have got a sanction load of 150 kVA. I have been using 20 kVA, 30 kVA for last 6 months, but I have been paying fixed charges for whole 150 kVA for 6 months. How long I can pay that? How long I will survive paying that much? I have fixed costs. Lot of hotels have fixed interest costs, which they have been paying, they have been incurring, and they will keep on incurring for the next 6 months or 8 months or 1 year. So, the impact, the government should provide some cushions, provide some package so that the hotels can sustain, they can survive. For the time when things get normalized, we are able to operate in that time. So किसी तरह से हम लोग जिंदा रह सके, किसी तरह से industry चल सके, the government has to step in and provide some cushions, some measures specifically for hotels, small hotels, like fixed charges they needs to be waived till the situation is normalized. Earlier the fixed charges were waived that were for 1 month or 2 months. That too, there were, due to the commercial rates, there were some statutory charges that were minimum charges, so those got squared off. So no actual benefit was incurred to us. So I request government to waive the fixed charges and give the industry status to hotels, so they are charged the rates at par with other industries, and interstate cushions should be provided, and something for our employees. As Mr. Dharkar told, 3 months 50% salary is being provided by ESIC. For the next 6 months or 8 months, how we can provide some minimum salary to our existing staff, those who was already sitting on bench, because they have a family to feed, they have kids to give education. I have a staff who has been working with me for 25 years. Now, after giving his all youth to my hotel, to me, now he's sitting on bench. I'm not able to pay him full salary. It's a moral load on me. I feel ashamed in front of him. I'm not able to pay his salary, full salary. So I request the government and the industry to provide some package, some cushion to the small hotels, so that they can survive for the time when the things get normalized, COVID is over. Because it's a matter of feeding 40 crore people of India. So it is very important that hotel industry survive. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Agrawal. And Mr. Agrawal says that it's not only the 10 crore job loss or job persons who are working directly, indirectly with the hotel industry. It's about 40 crore persons, the total population of, because he says that with the families. And according to him, when the 30 to 40% of the population is serviced by the hotel industry, the government must think, although there is nothing in the 20 lakhs crore stimulus package which was announced in June, as well as he said that there are no relief from the electricity, which they have to pay the fixed amount for the total loan section, whether the hotel is functioning or not. And he has mentioned that they have to reduce from 50% jobs, those who are working with in his hotel, now to only 20. And those 30 persons who are sitting on the bench, he says it's a very, very bad on his part, because morally he himself says that I am responsible, but what to do, from where I will pay the salary. Now, when this is the situation, he says the government should give the status to the hotel as a industry, so that at least they will have paid the same electricity charges which other industries are paying. Otherwise, they are paying as a commercial rate of 1.5% of more, 1.5 times more than what the industry is paying. And he has also mentioned that the interest rate is also high. That should be given relief. And he says, okay, 3 months ESI is they have given, but 3 months will not serve the purpose. They should increase it to 6 to 9 months. Thank you, Mr. Sonal Agrawal, for giving your views. Now, I would like to ask the question. Please be brief so that we can go to the next round also. My first question is to Mr. Kamat. Mr. Kamat, you have heard everyone, and somewhere mentioned about the interest part. Now, interest part, if you see in USA, the USA has given the 0%. They declared that up to November, all the interest will be charged as 0%. So there is no interest at all. While in India, we are talking of interest on interest. We have heard some Shylock or something earlier, something like that. But at least the government should do, as far as USA, okay, their economy, we say they are very strong economy, but we are also not bad. We were doing very good. So one is about the interest part. Secondly, the other, our guest said about the, guest mentioned about that no hope for the restaurants and hotels. What the government can do? Why not? In UK, if you see, they have subsidized, they are giving subsidy to the restaurants up to £10 per head, or the 50% of the bill. So now the latest report which I received from UK is that the restaurant industry is doing very well there. and people are going, eating, and that's why they have recovered. Don't you think that hotel industry should also demand this? What you say about these two aspects, about the interest as well as some subsidy directly benefiting to the consumer, so that they will start coming back to the hotel industry. Mr. Kamat, please.
Correct. Well said, sir. I wanted to touch this point that the main aspect, firstly, we need to separate two, three things here. We need to first, like, Sonal Agrawal ji said, we need to separate different hoteliers. One is the hotelier who is, whether he has a loan or doesn't have a loan, but hoteliers need relief, operating relief. So three buckets are there. One bucket is operating relief, where relief needs to be given in operating cost or in terms of helping the staff salaries, wages, electricity, duties, charges, property tax. These are operating relief which every hotelier needs to operate the hotel. Whether उनका लोन है या लोन नहीं है, होटल चलाने के लिए कुछ ना कुछ उनको साधन चाहिए और उन साधन का कॉस्ट कम करने के लिए ताकि डिमांड जनरेट हो. So three buckets are there. One is operating relief, which every hotelier needs. Second is interest relief, because there may be some hoteliers who are having loan, some hoteliers are having a lot of loan, could be multiple chain, could be multiple industry hoteliers having multiple type of multi-business owners. So in such a scenario, interest benefit or principal restructuring may be required, for which various schemes have been announced. I would like to comment on some of those schemes, but maybe we'll do that at a later thing to answer your existing question. And the main third bucket, which you rightly said, is about creating demand. Government has to work on what we are talking, it will take 12 to maybe 18 months on the longer side. We have to work on creating demand for the hotels and restaurants. And that, like UK has done two very successful things. One is Eat Out to Help Out, which is the name for exactly what scheme you are talking about, which means the government is giving everybody a kind of a free voucher that you can go and spend in any restaurant. So what happens, because people are coming in the restaurant, employment is generated. Because see, just giving hoteliers cost reduction also may not be an answer, because अगर cost भी reduce करके क्या फायदा अगर लोग ही नहीं आ रहे. We need people to go out of their home, start spending money in the hotel, restaurant, start doing a wedding. Wedding industry today is badly affected today, right from your pujari to your फूल माला जो बनाता है वो, to आपका decoration vendor जो आपका कुर्सी, टेबल, चेयर सब दे रहा है, and hotel वाले तो of course. So everybody is badly affected. So we need to generate the demand and scheme what government has done. Today, if you see, real estate market in entire UK is up in a big way, because they have given a special scheme, something like how Maharashtra has given, but something better, that if you buy and sell a house today, government will give you benefit. So people are selling their existing house and shifting. So that is again creating a traction in the market. A resale value of the houses is going up. So that is again creating a churning, a paisa jo hai wo ghoom raha hai, and that is very important in today's scenario, where everybody is just sitting on their money or very scared about spending money. The companies who have made a lot of money, and there are people in every disaster, there is opportunity. There are sectors like pharma, sectors like others who have made a lot of money. A certain amount of FMCG companies also have made a lot of money. That money has to again get circulated in the economy. So if that starts happening, then we can revive our economy faster. So to answer your question, sir, if some of these things to generate demand are done, then definitely it can help the industry. Second point is that we need to separate between not just about interest, but operating cost. And third is hoteliers who may have interest.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamat, for giving your reply. Now I'm going to Mr. Amit Jain. Jain साहब, आपने बताया था कि वेडिंग्स का बहुत बड़ा बिजनेस है जो होटल्स इस वक्त लूज कर रहे हैं, और उसका कारण है कि बैंक्वेट हॉल्स और वो सब मौजूद होने के बावजूद कुल पहले 50 था, अब 100 लोगों की परमिशन दी गई है. आपको नहीं लगता कि साइज के हिसाब से गवर्नमेंट को अलाउ करना चाहिए। अगर आपका बैंक्वेट हॉल 1000 फुट का है तो कितने लोग उसमें आ सकते हैं, जो सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग के मेजर के हिसाब से। अगर 25,000 स्क्वायर फीट का है तो कितने आ सकते हैं। कई होटल्स में ओपन स्पेस है, गार्डन्स हैं, जहां पे सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग बड़े आराम से हो सकती है। तो गवर्नमेंट को एक ही यार्डस्टिक से, मतलब एक ही तरह से नहीं सबको देखना चाहिए, होटल के केस टू केस लेना चाहिए। जिसका जिस तरह, जहां खुली हुई जगह है, जहां पे गार्डन्स हैं, वहां पे सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग बहुत आराम से हो सकती है। वहां पे 100 लोगों को की जगह हो सकता है 1000 2000 लोग भी अलाउड कर दिए जाएं, तो ये इंडस्ट्री बिना कुछ किए चल सकती है। और जो अभी मिस्टर कामत ने बताया कि इससे वेडिंग ना होने से सब पे इफेक्ट आ रहा है, पुजारी पे, फूल माला, तो वो सब चल सकता है। तो इससे क्या होगा कि जो छोटे बैंक्वेट हॉल्स हैं उनमें ठीक है लिमिटेड रहेगा, लेकिन जो बाकी हैं वो सब बड़े अच्छे ढंग से चल सकते हैं। क्या कहना चाहेंगे संक्षिप्त में मिस्टर जैन?
आपने बहुत बढ़िया बात कही साहब। देखिए, मैं आपको छोटी चीज बताता हूं। मैं पहले सरकार ने 30 लोगों की परमिशन दी थी शादी के लिए। 30 लोगों की परमिशन के साथ, मैं उत्तर प्रदेश की बात कर रहा हूं। वैसे तो जो सेंट्रल लेवल पे दी थी वो 50 लोगों की दी थी, लेकिन उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने स्पेशली इसको 30 लोगों को कर दिया था। 30 लोगों के बाद में उन्होंने अब की जो नई एमएसटी की गाइडलाइंस वगैरह जो आई हैं, उसमें उन्होंने 100 लोगों की परमिशन दे दी। चूंकि आज की स्थिति में अगर हम देखें तो कोरोना के केसेस इतने ज्यादा निकल रहे हैं कि देखिए, पहले तो ये कह सकते हैं कि शायद टेस्टिंग ना थी, इस वजह से जो है केसेस कम थे। लेकिन आज तो केसेस इतने ज्यादा निकल रहे हैं, और आज की केसेस निकलने की कंडीशन में जब सरकार 50 लोगों से या 30 लोगों से 100 लोगों की परमिशन दे सकती है, तो हमको ये निश्चित ही विश्वास रखना चाहिए कि सरकार आने वाले समय में जब कोरोना के केसेस की रफ्तार थोड़ी कम होगी या सही होगी, तो हो सकता है कि 100 लोगों की परमिशन को भी सरकार जो है दोबारा से बढ़ा सकती है। हो सकता है इसको ज्यादा कर दे, डबल कर दे। एक बात। दूसरी बात, जो आपने कहा कि जिस प्रकार से वेडिंग जगह है या फिर जो हॉल्स हैं या फिर जो ग्राउंड्स वगैरह है, देखिए सरकार ने थोड़ी सी यहाँ पे थोड़ी कंट्रोवर्सी है। सरकार ने इसके साथ साथ ये भी कहा था कुछ दिन पहले, क्योंकि मेरी प्रहलाद पटेल साहब से अमूमन बात होती रहती है इस विषय में, सेंट्रल मिनिस्टर जो है उन्होंने ये भी गाइडलाइन दी थी कि भाई अगर सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग के हिसाब से अगर कहीं पर भी हमको ये महसूस होगा कि जगह ज्यादा है, तो हम उस हिसाब से चीजों को मैनेज भी कर सकते हैं। लेकिन वो उनके पाइपलाइन में है चीजें। अभी उन्होंने स्पष्टता इस बात पे नहीं करी है कि हम उसको कर देंगे, लेकिन चूंकि कोरोना के केसेस की रफ्तार बढ़ी है, तो जो परमिशन है वेडिंग की वो 100 लोगों की आज की तारीख में। ये बात निश्चित है कि वेडिंग जो होती है, एक डेस्टिनेशन वेडिंग या फिर एक वेडिंग, ये किसी भी होटल के लिए एक बहुत बड़ा रेवेन्यू का जरिया होता है और एक मेजर पार्ट होता है, और उससे ही जो खर्चे होते हैं और जो चीजें रेवेन्यू जनरेट होती हैं, मेजर उसी से होता है। और इसके साथ साथ जैसे कामत साहब ने भी कहा कि देखिए, इससे फूल वाला भी जुड़ा हुआ है, पंडित जी भी जुड़े हुए हैं, इससे कैटरिंग वाला भी जुड़ा हुआ है, इससे जो है सब प्रकार के नाना प्रकार के अलग अलग तरह के लोग इससे जुड़े हुए होते हैं। तो और हर एक आदमी जब किसी न किसी से जुड़ा हुआ होता है डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली, तो वो रिलेटेड भी होता है, कोरिलेटेड भी होता है, और उसको अर्थ का भी डायरेक्ट इनडायरेक्ट उसको फायदा भी मिलता है उस चीज का। परंतु अब चूंकि ये कोरोना वैश्विक महामारी जो चल रही है, तो निश्चित है कि देखिए कुछ तो हमको सोचना भी पड़ेगा, कुछ ये भी देखना पड़ेगा निश्चित है हमको कि हम सब जानते हैं कि इस समय हम ऐसे दौर से गुजर रहे हैं, ऐसे काल से गुजर रहे हैं जिसकी कि हमने कभी भी कल्पना कभी नहीं करी।
जैन साहब, मैं थोड़ा रोकना चाहूंगा आपको, आपकी बात सही है, लेकिन जो स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन है वो ये है कि क्या गवर्नमेंट को अलाउ कर देना चाहिए, अगर जहां पे बड़े बड़े बैंक्वेट हॉल्स हैं या जो ओपन गार्डन्स हैं, उनके सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग को रखते हुए जितना एरिया में, सिर्फ उतने का अगर आप आंसर दें, क्योंकि अपने को आगे अभी एक राउंड और है।
मैं समझ गया। मैं निश्चित इस बात का समर्थन करूंगा आपको कि गवर्नमेंट को अगर कुछ कंडीशंस रख करके अगर गवर्नमेंट चाहे तो, और अगर एक एसोसिएशन की तरफ से या फिर संगठन संस्था की तरफ से अगर एक कोऑर्डिनेशन बन जाए, तो गवर्नमेंट को निश्चित उनके साथ बैठ करके विचार विमर्श करना चाहिए और निश्चित इस पर कोई ना कोई ठोस कार्रवाई करनी चाहिए ताकि उससे सबका रेवेन्यू अफेक्टेड हो।
Thank you, Mr. Jain. Mr. Samir, you have hotels in different parts of the world. You know very well the concept of Airbnbs. Now, my question to you, do Airbnbs or apartment rentals have an advantage over hotels, or is it a threat to the hotel industry in general? Because what we have seen in the many countries, like particularly in US and UK, people are preferring Airbnb because they feel that they will not be in touch with many people, not any staff. They are going contactlessly. They just enter and they stay in that hotel, in the Airbnb, and they come back. So do you think that Airbnb will have more good future even in the post-COVID era because of their contactless check-in and check-out procedure? Mr. Samir, please.
Frankly speaking, I mean, if you actually review this, that particular segment is completely different than the hotel segment. Talking about current specific situation about the pandemic, and because of pandemic, would they have an advantage against hotels? My view is in fact the other way around. Because of pandemic, actually they would suffer more for a simple reason. Because in hotels, see, when you talk about such units which are on the room nights are sold on the platforms like Airbnb and so on, many such platforms are available, but they are not, these units are not managed by a large professional chains or outlets or more, I mean, these are taken care by the individuals. More of those units are taken care by the individuals. Of course, there are certain organizations are also getting involved now and looking at those opportunities. But as of now, so when we talk about, if you remember some time back when I spoke about hygiene factor. So in fact, today, the traveler is more concerned about his or her safety. And with that, when they travel to an established hotel or a good brand or a known hotel, then their concern of safety is taken care of. So I would in fact see this, changing, this bringing, brands and the chain players into main limelight more. Because it gives that kind of a comfort and safety to the guest. So that I would look at that as an advantage to the branded hotel and not to the Airbnb kind of stuff. Okay. Having said that, are they going to go out of the market? No, they are also here to stay. It's because everybody has their own market. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Samir, for giving your views. Now, Mr. Sonal, you have heard what Mr. Samir said. And when I had a discussion with the luxury hotel chains like Marriott, ITC, Taj, Hyatt, Hilton, their views were very clear, and they said the hygiene conditions of the branded hotel, means the 5-star and above hotels, are of top standard. If it is so, do you think the hotels which are standalone hotels, which are not branded hotels, people will be feeling afraid to go there, and they would like to go only, if they have to go, only the top hotels? I will give you an example. Recently, in the month of August, all the weekends of the August were full of Rajasthan, all the top hotel chains, as well as even the ITC Grand Bharat of Gurugram, which were totally sold out, because they says that the people wants to go out and they want to prefer only those hotels which have the complete total hygiene conditions of world-class standard, which they are feeling comfortable only in those hotels. Do you think it will affect more to the unbranded or standalone hotels in tier 2 and tier 3 cities like Mathura or other cities? Mr. Agrawal, please.
Thank you, sir. I agree with your concern in this regard about hygiene. In short term, it may be true, but as you earlier said, every crisis provide an opportunity. I think the small hotels should take it as an opportunity and revisit their process of hygiene, and they should closely look after all these aspects so that the customers and the guests who are coming are comfortable with the hygiene standards. So it is an opportunity for small standalone hotels to look after their hygiene standards, and they should definitely look after that. And once the customer is convinced about the hygiene conditions of small hotels, I think they will be able to compete with the larger chains, and it is a very important issue, and it is going to remain in future also. So small hotels should definitely look after the hygiene conditions, should improve them, and should not be bowed down by that. They should definitely go ahead and improve their hygiene conditions, so the customer is comfortable with it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Agrawal. definitely the small hotels will be affected initially, but it will cover. Thank you very much for giving the reply. Now, this last round, please be brief, Mr. Kamat, your suggestions to the government, if any, and advice to public. Mr. Kamat, please.
So I think that the main thing I'd like to tell the government is to understand our industry. I think that if they just understand the industry better and they spend enough time to delve deep and see the benefit that this industry provides, both in terms of economic benefits, in terms of employment benefits, and overall in terms of cultural benefit, because it is the tourism industry alone which preserves the culture of any country. Because only when the culture is exposed, if people cannot come to see the monuments, then the monuments will fall in worse condition. If people cannot come to see the traditional dance of a particular area or taste the traditional food of a particular area, then naturally those arts or those kala, they will slowly die. So the tourism and hospitality, aviation, travel, tourism industry gives a lot of tangible and intangible benefits to the country. So it should be treated as such and taken seriously as the economic engine. Broadly, this is my first thing. I think specific suggestions the entire panel has already given. We can get into give this tax less and that thing. But if we don't accept and understand that this industry has to offer, then that will not be appreciated. So this is my main request to the government, that understand what the industry contributes and not just think that hotel वालों के पास बहुत पैसा है तो इनको मदद की जरूरत नहीं है.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kamat, for giving your views and suggestions to the. Now, Mr. Amit Jain, आप कुछ suggestion देना चाहेंगे government को?
कामत जी ने बिल्कुल सही कहा. देखिए, अगर हम इस इंडस्ट्री को एज अ होटल इंडस्ट्री को इंडस्ट्री में अगर सरकार इसको कर दे, तो निश्चित ही हमको वो सब लाभ या वो सब सुविधाएं मिलने लगेंगी जो कि एक इंडस्ट्री को मिलती हैं. जैसे बिजली में रेट के चार्जेस में रिडक्शन हुआ, टैक्सेस में हो गया, या फिर हमारी ESI PF में हो गया, या फिर एम्प्लॉयमेंट में हो गया. तो ये मैं आपकी बात का बिल्कुल निश्चित ही समर्थन करता हूं इस बात का, और मैं निश्चित ही इस बात के लिए प्रयास भी करूंगा, अपने संगठन की तरफ से भी करूंगा और आपके माध्यम से भी करूंगा इस बात को कि कैसे भी करके माननीय मंत्री से मिलने की कोशिश करूंगा कि भाई कम से कम इस लॉकडाउन को, जो इस समय ये जो वैश्विक महामारी चल रही है, तो कम से कम इसका ये फायदा तो दें हमको कि इस होटल को एक एज अ इंडस्ट्री घोषित करवाई जाए. धन्यवाद.
बहुत धन्यवाद, Mr. Jain, for giving your suggestion to the government that this at least the hotel should be declared as a hotel industry. We are using always the word industry, but we are not knowing that it is not an industry. Thank you for your views, Mr. Samir Dharkar, please.
Yes, I'll cover it in brief. The same point.
Hello, no. I think some problem. Audio is not coming.
Audio is not there?
No, now it is there.
Okay.
Now it is there.
Yeah, all right. So very briefly, I mean, yes, that's the point which I raised about that our industry is not recognized as a hotel industry. Alternatively, they could add it into infrastructure industry, because see, tourism infrastructure, basically hotels is part of that. Like you need roads, ports, airports, and so you need hotels. So the basic of tourism industry's infrastructure is concerned, hotel is part of that. So either you identify this as an industry itself, or you club it with the infrastructure industry. So these are the two options. And very importantly, the loan tenures for this has to be up to 20 to 25 years. Universally, worldwide, hotels get loans for up to 25-year term. Trust me, our industry's entire NPA issues will get sorted out. So this challenge of pandemic should be capitalized and used as an opportunity by the government to literally review the hotel industry financial structure. And if this can bring down the rate of interest also, because today already government has taken various steps in general through RBI, where cost of funds has already gone down. Even with today's cost of funds of the bank, hotels can actually fund at the prime, if they give the prime lending rates of about 8% or so, which is very much possible. Rates are still going down. So at about 8% rate and about 25 years loan tenure, this industry's all problems will get resolved.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Samir, for giving your views or suggestions to the government. Mr. Sonal Agrawal, your suggestions to the government.
So my suggestion is, I earlier said, the fixed charges all of hotels should be waived off for the pandemic period so that they can survive. Right now, the most important aspect is survival. The government should provide relief, as I earlier said, to the hotels for this pandemic period so that they can survive. The next thing, the demand should be revived. How to revive that demand? As you said, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes. Please.
Thank you.
Yes, you are audible.
As you said, the UK government is providing food vouchers to the people there. The same scheme has been started in Uttarakhand. They are providing 1,000 rupees voucher to the inbound tourists. They can redeem it at some hotels and restaurants. So these sort of schemes should be initiated by the tourism ministry at larger level, so the demand is revived. Even after the COVID is over, I feel the waiting period will be long. People will not feel comfortable in going to the hotels or taking some pilgrimage or some tourist destination. So to revive the demand, so government needs to incentivize the people to come forward to go to the hotels, to the pilgrimage centers, to the tourist destinations. They need to be wooed to spend on these aspects. So some incentive scheme should be initiated by the government to revive the demand of tourism industry.
Okay, thank you for your suggestions, Mr. Agrawal. And today you have seen the hoteliers who are doing business in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, even one or two hoteliers who have the hotels abroad. They all have the same view. First view is that the government should recognize them as an industry, which is very, very important, because they says otherwise the hotel industry is in a very bad shape. And because 10 crore people are affected directly, indirectly, and one of our guests mentioned that not is a question of 10 crores, say 40 crores because of their families, as well as they says that 10% of the GDP, which is a very, very big amount, is been contributed by the tourism and the hotel industry. And so when this is the situation, their demand is the government should come forward, help them out. Otherwise, even the culture, even their tradition, and this is the tourism and the revenue or the economy of the country cannot come up. Thanks all of you. Today's program, which has been live telecasted on V4 News, Global TV, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, as well as it was shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And our endeavor is to bring almost every day the new topics and the impact of the COVID-19 or the current topic. And tomorrow is World Suicide Prevention Day. Yes, because nowadays all the national media is talking about one particular case, which you all might be aware, and that is whether it was suicide or a murder. That is a separate thing, but initially it was a suicide which has been registered. So when we are talking about the suicide, we must celebrate it's the day that is World Suicide Prevention Day. This is tomorrow, and our eminent guest is Dr. Rajiv Anand, Senior Psychiatrist and Marriage Counselor, Mumbai. Along with him is Miss Nidhi Arora, Professor, MIT University, Lucknow. We would like you to join tomorrow media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. so that you can see and understand what is the position of suicide. And I would like to thank all of my guests, Mr. Vikram Kamat, Mr. Amit Jain, Mr. Sameer Dharkar, as well as Mr. Sonal Agrawal, for giving their valuable suggestions, their inputs, and I'm sure all our viewers have been benefited by their expert opinions. Thank you very much. Thank you all.